that I just cut for Slap is bigger than the UFC deal we cut with Spike TV after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. I don't give a shit what the media says about it. They don't matter.
So money-wise, it's working out, is what you're saying, basically.
It's fucking unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable money-wise, it's been unbelievable as far as social media goes. We're number one in all of sports. And when I say all of sports, if you take the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, F1, WWE, and added them all together, their numbers don't compare to Slap's.
Dana White, can you shut the f*** up?
Can we all agree that any sort of organized sports like slap fighting should not exist? It's literally two people competing to see who can scramble the other person's brain first. I'm not a big fan of combat sports, but I respect the MMA and boxing. Discipline, athleticism, and grit is what it takes to be a great fighter. These guys are badass. To be a great slap fighter, it just takes 2 hands, 2 feet, and unbridled rage of a pimp. That's it. Getting slapped around and getting serious concussion for money is not what I call badass. I'd have no problem telling people that I'm a boxer or I practice jujitsu. It takes a special kind of person to proudly tell your family and friends that you get slapped around for money. No, you, sir, have a kink. Speaking of kinks, I'm pretty sure there's at least one slap fighter out there that gets his rocks off from doing this. Like, imagine slapping a dude as hard as you can, and instead of knocking him out, like, he just gets bricked up. He just gets bricked up for no reason. Like, at that point, you're okay? You're done. Just give up. I first learned of the world of slap fighting like anyone else, from YouTube. And at the time, the sports slap fighting were simple homemade videos with Russian guys slapping the absolute shit out of each other. This gotta be one of the top 5 most Russian things that I know, besides Russian roulette and jumping into a frozen pool. Before the sport became mainstream, I'm pretty sure this was a Russian pastime, right up there with running into walls. Just give them 10 shots of Stolichnaya, and they're ready to slug it out. Well, Jonathan, why are you making a video about slap fighting? It's literally just the palm of your hands. How much damage can that do? Well, for starters, have you seen the palms of some of these dudes? What you're looking at is the fury of freshly baked brioche buns. Those things can do fucking damage. Second of all, a lot of these slaps are actually with the wrist. I don't know if you've ever taken an anatomy class, but bones are hard. And sometimes that's coming across your face. So instead of a prissy slap, it's like a slightly cushioned hook. Oh, on top of that, you can't defend yourself. According to the dumbass rules, fighters can't flinch or minimize the damage to the slap. You just gotta stick that chin out like Reese Witherspoon, hold on to those foam pads, and hope for the best. If slap fighting stayed in Mother Russia, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Sure, these videos got a decent amount of views at the time, but without the commercialization of slap fighting, we probably could have saved a decent amount of brain cells in the US. My man Dana White, being an egotistical American capitalist, saw this trend growing in Eastern Europe and saw nothing but heaps and heaps of fatty stats. Slappy, slappy, money, money. In a few short years, Dana White, the president and CEO of the UFC, bought up so many slap fighting leagues around the world, aka colonized, to create Power Slap. Slap fighting became more and more popular, and I'm not gonna lie, it started to grow on social media, especially Instagram. I personally don't know of anyone that's a big fan of the Power Slap League because I don't surround myself with like low IQ individuals, but some of their content do be going viral from time to time. And it's all thanks to their money-hungry CEO. And like any other great CEO and his company, Dana White's been pumping up this company by completely talking out of his ass.
The deal that I just cut for Slap is bigger than the UFC deal we cut with Spike TV after the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. I don't give a shit what the media says about it. They don't matter.
So money-wise, it's working out, is what you're saying, basically.
It's fucking unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable money-wise, it's been unbelievable as far as social media goes.
Look at it. Look at that narcissistic smirk on his face. It's like he knows something that we don't. I don't know if it's because he got like a fat white meatball head or he's just got a punchable face. Like, it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but he's just got that face where you just want to... To be a successful CEO of a publicly traded company, you've got to be able to lie through your teeth. Dana White is alarmingly pretty good at that. You got to look people in the eyes, especially investors, make this face, and with 100% certainty in your voice, say that this product is going to change the world, when in reality you probably know that it's completely dog shit. And Dana White is pretty good at that.
We're number one in all of sports. And when I say all of sports, if you take the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, F1, WWE, and who am I forgetting, and added them all together, their numbers don't compare to Slap's.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
I don't know if this dude is just delusional or he's really good at lying, but I hope this dumb activity never gets close to the heights of the UFC. If power slap becomes more popular than the UFC, that means we're regressing as a society. At that point, we gotta bring back old words like calling fights fisticuffs and bring back corsets while we're at it. And besides, those corsets made those ladies back then look
thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
I wish I could be a fly in the wall for one of these power slapping competitions, just so I can see for myself the type of person that actually pays for a ticket and watches one of these events. They'd all be inbreds. Nothing but inbreds. Wouldn't be surprised if it's hard to find someone with an IQ north of 80. In the grand scheme of things though, I'm not too worried about this cancerous spread of slap fighting, because at the end of the day, it's fundamentally flawed. Yeah, seeing crazy knockouts while you're scrolling on IG is funny and entertaining. That guy's never gonna talk the same way ever again. But this kind of entertainment only goes so far for most people. Like, I remember the first time I saw a slap fighting reel on Instagram. First time I was like, holy shit, that guy got his absolute soul demolished in that one slap. The second reel that I saw was like, pretty funny too. Third, fourth, fifth, it starts to get old. You know what you're gonna expect after that. I don't think slap fighting on its own at this point is going to keep people coming back in a long term. You already know what's going to happen. Two people at a podium slapping the souls out of each other. With the UFC on the other hand, there's unlimited ways of ending a match, keeping things interesting. You got TKO, unlimited ways of knockouts, by decision, and you can't forget the submissions. That is what makes MMA and boxing thrilling. Well, boxing doesn't have like nearly half of those things unless you play dirty. But you get the point that I'm trying to make. By the way, if you made it to this point in the video and you haven't subscribed yet, bro, what are you doing? You might as well join the club, bro. On top of that, how are you supposed to grow a sport when your athletes are constantly getting concussions? Cause remember, you can't defend yourself. There's a high chance of a knockout with every slap that comes across that fat ass face. Can you imagine what someone's brain looks like after 10 years of professional slap fighting? It's just nothing but cheese. Nothing but Swiss cheese. Well, that's assuming that they can even afford to keep slap fighting for that long. You guys would be flabbergasted by how much these guys are getting paid. Now, I want you guys to take a guess. How much do you think these slap fighters get paid per match? Keep in mind, you're taking direct hits to your central nervous system with almost every slap, and you risk your face swelling up like a goddamn balloon. A UFC vet named Eric Spicely was contacted to fight in their league. They paid him $2,000 to show up, and a possible $2,000 as a victory bonus. And that's without accounting for taxes. God, I f***ing hate taxes. And Dana White's explanation for that low pay? It's how MMA started too. Boxing undercards still make this kind of money still. Educate yourself before you open the yap. Dana White, you got a fat ass meatball head. You shouldn't be talking. Round of applause for Dana White. That's a great excuse, my guy. We can't pay our fighters enough because that's what we did with the UFC when we first started, even though now we got $50 bajillion to back us up. We're gonna ignore that part. And just like every successful CEO, Dana is cheap, okay? He's a cheap son of a bitch that only cares about the bottom line. You know what? F the bottom line. He cares about the underground line.
What?
I don't know what that means, but in the grand scheme of things, I can't help but think that these fighters are being taken advantage of. Making thousands of dollars for simply slapping the shit out of someone sounds like a pretty good gig until you realize you're going against the fucking Russian Chewbacca. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this guy with his extremely swollen face. I actually looked into this a little bit, and apparently, well, obviously, he lost that match really badly, but then he ended up winning like a championship or some shit like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, even though he won that large sum of money, he still got medical bills. He's got to treat that. And you also got to remember about the long-term medical bills that can be down the road. And depending on the severity and the frequency of those concussions, there's possibility for long-term issues down the line. To put it simply, trying to be a serious slap fighter is not worth it. I also feel like slap fighting attracts people to compete that are down on their luck. I mean, just take a look at the guy that we just spoke about, Eric. It's hard to imagine someone that did UFC, kickboxing, something that's hardcore, retire, and then out of nowhere come out of retirement to do slap fighting, unless you really need the money. He made a tweet about it, you know, complaining about how low the pay is, but you know what? He still did it because he probably needed the money. And it's not a knock on him, okay? The UFC is already notorious for not paying their fighters enough. I can't even imagine how bad it is for the slap fighters. You probably saw this video earlier as a B-roll for this video. This lady lost her memory from this incident. Doesn't even remember doing a barrel roll. I've heard football players talk about their concussions and how they may not remember a quarter, not slap fighters, but apparently that's how serious these concussions are. At the end of the day, man, I'm all here for weird sports. Log rolling, ear pulling, even women's basketball. But I do think slap fighting takes it a little too far. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Profitt out.